Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Rise Up For You podcast. Today, we're going to be doing part 2 with Dariush Soudi. If you missed part 1, pause right now, go back and watch it first. It's an incredible episode, so much so that we've actually had to split it in two. Dariush joins me from the UAE, and it's actually the first time we've ever done an in-person, in-studio podcast. This is one episode you do not want to miss. Without further ado, let's jump into part 2. Is there something that I haven't asked you yet? More will come to me, but is there something that you really want to get out to the audience that we didn't talk about in part 1 that we can now pull into part 2?
Abundance. I think last year, because I've learned how to invest, and on my investments are getting around 30% a year returns per annum, good. Which is incredible.
Yeah.
When most people are taught to invest in banks. And then when you know billionaires are making hundreds of millions of dollars a year, but people still invest in banks that pay you 3-4% a year when inflation is running at 19%. It's just crazy stuff. So I advised hundreds of people to a tune of about $35 million last year. And they got returns of 30% or more.
Wow.
And also the companies I advise them, give me their names, who's investing and who's compounding, right? Because I teach people how to compound. Out of hundreds of people, how many do you think phone me to say thank you?
Probably none. I don't know.
One.
Why
do you think that is? Because they believe in scarcity. They think
scarcity mindset.
If I tell Dariush, he might get a percentage of my money, so I'll just keep it to myself and I'll just invest.
Yeah. But things don't come back your way when you do that, right? Like the universe, I feel like the universe.
That's their problem, right?
Yeah.
I just monitor and I go, that's interesting. Because I believe in abundance. I could say, well, I have the knowledge and I'll just keep it to myself, right? But I actually went out of my help these people to become richer or rich. And they couldn't even tell me, you know what, Dariush, don't even say thank you. Just to say I invested. And I'm compounding and he's paying my school fees for my kids or he's bought me that car. They don't even bother. Because they have this scarcity mindset that the money is limited, love is limited, health is limited, but they don't see that. Why is Elon Musk worth $450 billion and most of us can't pay rent?
Yeah,
right.
So I want to touch upon this because this is something that I'm still learning to understand, and we talked about this in part 1, which is empathy, right? And you have a lot of empathy, which. Honestly, for somebody that's high performing, that's not typical. Like usually executives and high performing people, they struggle with that. I know I do. Yes. If I were to look at all the pillars of emotional intelligence, empathy is the one that I struggle with the most. I'm not awful at it. I just, my dad was strong. He was from the Middle East and he was a very like black and white, like you can do it. There's no other way. So, my brain was kind of trained that way. So I'm not fully understanding why today, in today's world, I understood it 50 years ago, but why in today's world, in this day and age, is abundance such a hard thing for people to accept and realize and recognize, right? That there is so much for everyone, that there is no scarcity. Why do you think that's still a concept that people struggle with?
Can you believe this came to me like a couple of months ago? Because I was really pissed with this. I was like... assholes, I'm not going to help anybody else, but I just have this desire to help, but I can't stop, right? So I was getting disappointed. Then I thought, idiot, I'm the abnormality. I'm the one who's different, right? Scarcity is human nature. So until about 100 years ago, what did we do? We went to the farm, we took the hay or the whatever it was and the corns and stuff, and we hid it. Because the weather could change, we could get attacked by our next door neighbors, so we hid it. So scarcity and protection is a natural human form. We've only had abundance in the last 100 years, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the last 20 years where you can sit at home and somebody will deliver your food and you can eat whatever you want, you never go hungry. So no wonder that the human nature is to protect and preserve rather than abundance. So I'm the one who's different. I'm the unusual guy. But everybody else is quite common because it's been going for 10,000 years.
Yeah.
Abundance is very rare.
Yeah.
And new.
And they're still I've heard many people say like the reptilian brain, right? They're in like that survival mode, right? That maybe we had 1,000 years ago when we were just like trying to survive on the planet.
Yes.
And sometimes we default to that space as human beings. That makes sense because
And also one is to avoid pain, right? So if you imagine when Elon Musk wakes up in the morning, or the Google guys, I mean, they didn't get up in the morning and go, I'm going to have this thing called, I'm going to have a camera on every single road on the planet. Okay, you just think it's impossible to even think that big, right? And suddenly Google Maps, anywhere in the world, they say, you know where you're going and how it works. And Amazon, I'm going to deliver a box to every household on the planet. Or these guys wake up and say, give me a big problem. Most of us wake up and go, today I hope it's going to be easy. I hope I'm not going to have big problems today. So my suggestion is wake up in the morning, hope for big problems. As people look, the bigger the problems you solve, the richer you get.
Yeah.
So your mentality changes when you wake up in the morning and you wish you had a tough day. Because people are bypassing you, you're not making a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
So your rewards are low.
I wanted to ask you, because as you're talking, there's like a bunch of things that come to mind. You know, talking about when you had a sales team and you had, a team of 600, and obviously you work with a lot of people today. Everything that we're talking about, it falls under the umbrella of emotional intelligence. And like, I personally believe in the company that's like the number one skill that you need, right? Because you can build all the other skills, but emotional intelligence is the foundation.
It's the toughest thing to teach.
It's the toughest thing to teach, but it's the most important. It makes up like 75% of our success. So for somebody that has been up and down, you've worked with the team, you've had to climb back up. Talk to me a little bit about how emotional intelligence has served you, and if there's areas that are hard for you, difficult for you, I'd love to hear.
Starting relationships is easy, ending them is difficult.
Yes.
And most relationships end like marriages, unfortunately. So again, I've studied things like tantric, and to get a husband and wife to get connection is only 3 ways.
Yeah.
Okay. One is to fantasize.
Okay.
The other one is to connect, and the other one is to just get it over and done with and sleep. Right? The problem why people don't connect because they don't decide which journey they want to share before they start. So when my employees come, I actually have a manual of values and boundaries manual.
Yeah.
And I tell them, these are my values. Once, I'll tell you, second time you're out. So when I fire people, they thank me. They're not happy anyway. And they can't say, you didn't tell me.
Right.
So what I do now, I tell people right from the front, these are my values, these are my boundaries.
What are some of them for you?
Honesty, clear communication, speed, loyalty is huge, manners, respect.
Yeah.
These are huge to me. And boundaries, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. Yes. And they can't say I'd ever told them. And just clarity right from the beginning. So because the pain of ending relationships was always too painful, too hurtful. So I decided to have these up front to avoid it.
Yeah.
So what I do now when I sit on an appointment, I say, hey, listen, I'm going to go and work on this proposal for next week. Okay? There's only one thing I ask you. At the end of the week, when I send you the proposal, take my call. Don't avoid it. Would that be okay? Because the last thing I want to do is embarrass myself chasing you. So I get that.
You say that?
Yes.
Okay, I got it. I'm learning a lot.
I value myself, right? And I need you to value me. If you're not going to take my call, why should I bother?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I got a call 2 weeks ago from a very huge developer. And they said, we want your services to train. They're huge. And it would really help my brand in the area, in the countries, to work with them. So I recognized that, and they were kind of pushing that down my throat. And they said, let's meet as soon as possible. I said, meet face to face. They said, no, let's do Zoom. So we had a Zoom call, and the guy said, send me the proposal. I said, no, I don't send proposals. He goes, why? I said, you want me to train your salespeople to send proposals? Or do you want me to train your salespeople to close deals? So if you want me to close, I'll come and see you next week. I'll close you and show you how I'm going to get your salespeople to close you like I did. And they hired me.
What I was just going to say, what'd they say? Yeah.
At first they were like, cheeky MF, right? But they said, come and show us.
But you're not wrong, right?
I signed them up.
Yeah.
And I said, do you want me to train your people to have to send proposals? If I send you a proposal, that's the most I can teach your salespeople.
Yeah. And
right?
and that's
and
where
they
the
go,
ghosting happens
that
too.
made sense. Bit of cockiness, bit of arrogance, but it made sense, right?
Yeah.
So, and I closed them. And afterwards, I swear, the sales director came and I thought he's going to be a challenge because he had a huge ego, right? As soon as he left, an hour meeting, he did 55 minutes of talking, right? So when he left, I turned around to the operations guys and the HR and I said, I'm not going to work with you because he's going to be a problem. Because he knows everything. He's just going to talk through my training sessions.
Yeah.
And I said, no, what we're going to do, we're going to kick him out during your training session, make sure we record it and whatever you say goes. So they said, send us a price, okay, and we'll go ahead. So I didn't, because subconsciously something was holding me back.
Yeah.
Because I knew it's going to be painful.
Yeah.
I'm a gladiator, right? And I try to avoid confrontation as much as I can. So they messaged me 2 days ago and said, we're still waiting. I said, well, I wasn't going to send it to you. So why? I said, because it's going to be a painful experience. I said it because we fully realized, just name your price. I said, $15,000 for 2 hours. They said, okay.
Yeah. Good
Done.
for you.
But I was so honest, fearless to share how I feel.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Too many people worry about hurting other people. What would they think of me? What would they say about me? Would they think about this? I don't give a shit.
Yeah. But see, that's the healthy boundary part, right? Is that a lot of people struggle with like the people pleasing aspect. And so they would do the opposite. I'm sure you know a ton of entrepreneurs that they underprice themselves, right? They're like, this is the price. And then they get offered like less than half of that. And they're like, okay, fine.
Nida, can I ask you a question?
Ask me whatever you want.
You're trying to squeeze me on price, okay?
Yeah.
Do you pay rent half price? Do you pay your staff free?
No, that's for sure not.
Okay. So you need to charge a fair amount to cover your costs, right?
Yeah.
So why are you asking me to lose?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
So why would you ask me to lose?
Yeah.
If it's not good for you, why should it be good for me?
you.
And they go, I get it. How much do you charge?
Yeah. And that goes back to when I was reading your book, you talked about selling your soul for money.
Yes.
Like as one of your values.
Yes.
And I thought that was really interesting. It reminded me of my older
Don't sell your soul for money.
Yeah, don't. Excuse me. Do not sell your soul for money.
Don't sell your soul for money.
Do not sell your soul for money. My older brother Waleed, who hopefully you'll meet at some point. He's here in Vegas with me. I remember him telling me that when I was younger. Not that I did it, but he was so strong in that value, and I'm like, don't sell your soul for money. And then I read that part in your book, and you're obviously talking about it right now. I want you to speak to that a little bit, because I think that, like you said, people struggle with that scarcity around money, that they'll do whatever they need to do to make the dollar. But then at the end of the day, like it doesn't feel good.
Life's a misery.
That's right, yeah.
What's money? Money's energy, right? It's a piece of paper that says I owe you. If every one of us go and do a run on the American bank, there's not enough gold to cover the amount of money that people are owed. So it's just a piece of paper. It's just energy, right? So when I do business, people think, first they think, I like him. I want him in my office. He's good energy. So I sign up and I find out what he's going to do after.
Yeah.
And most people say, right, let me pull out my PowerPoint and A, B, C, D, and they go through a checklist, a point by point, a bullet points of like a shopping list.
Yeah.
And then they start negotiating on price.
Yeah.
With me, the customer client decides they want to do business, whatever it takes, and then they justify to themselves later.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between wanting to work with someone or needing to work with someone.
Absolutely.
Wanting is far more powerful. Because when a lady wants a bag, they justify every cost to get that Louis Vuitton bag, right? Or Hermes bag.
That's just.
And a man goes, it's a frigging bag,
Yes, we
just
do.
get a bag, right? So when you want something, it's a far more powerful motivating factor to do business with you. So work that energy of people wanting to work with you. Be positive. And all the time, people, when they meet you, they don't think positive things. They think negative things because they're thinking, I'll have to avoid the wrong mistakes I made in the past.
Yes.
But they're not going to share it with you.
Yeah.
So I call it buyers are liars. So they tell you something to avoid what they're really thinking.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit like tactical with you from a business perspective.
Please do. That's my specialty.
Because I'm a business owner, and we're continuing to grow and scale as a company. So for me, like I'm always looking at it from an operational standpoint, and sales is something that is, I would say, one of the bigger challenges, only because it's about relationships, right? And sometimes it's easier for me to make a sale, for example, or I like to call it service, because I built the company. So it's not about the dollar for me. It's about I built something that I believe in. And so it's easier for me to close, for example, because I'm speaking it from a place of like, this is going to change, your life or your organization. But it's hard to replicate, right? It's hard, I think, and maybe that's a scarcity mindset, to get other individuals to be able to speak from that same sense. So you spoke a lot about energy, and I'm really big on energy. What kind of energy would you say, like, you got to bring to the table, right? Like, you got to show up in a certain way. What would you say that is?
Childlike enthusiasm.
Childlike enthusiasm.
Yeah, even at my age, doing business 40 odd years, when I sit in front of the client, I'm so enthusiastic about finding their pain. Okay. Most salespeople ask 2 questions and they go into the pitch.
Yeah.
Okay. So the pitch is the last thing I do. I ask at least 20 to 30 questions.
Really?
If you do an exercise, they ask me 10 questions. After 6, people are stuck. And the questions aren't open to open a conversation. When I first came to Dubai, I was like, I don't have much time to explain what I do. So how can I shorten and capture somebody's imagination, and that so they're intrigued to do business with me? So they said, what do you do? I said, I sell aspirin. So what do you mean? I said, I find your business headache and I fix it. So when can I come and see what your potential headache is? And maybe I can fix it. They go, oh, this guy's fun. I'll get him in. So you have to find hooks to get people excited, little bits of intrigue. How many times have you been networking? You said, what do you do? I'm a printer, I'm an accountant. So you think, oh, I just want to run.
Yeah.
Right? Be creative, right?
Yeah.
Get people's enthusiasm going. Be excited about what you're doing. And people want to do business with you.
Yeah.
It's not transaction. Too many people. I'll give you an example. We brought laser hair removal into our clinics.
Yeah.
And before that, it was waxing. So people had to go through this painful experience every 2 months of waxing. 6 treatments and you don't have to wax ever again, right?
Yeah.
But it's just a ticket price more expensive. So for 3 months, none of my staff were selling courses. They were selling 1 or 2, knowing you have to have a series of 6 treatments before you get full hair reduction.
Yeah.
So I tried every sales technique imaginable. And after about 6 months, I realized what the trick was. If the salesperson can't afford it themselves, they feel the prospect can't afford it. So I took my staff, showed them all the cars of my clients, of their clients.
Yeah.
And I thought, hang on a second, she has a Mercedes, she has a Ferrari. Suddenly they were selling courses. So their own limited beliefs is passed on to their prospects.
Yeah. And how would you get a sales team? And I know you do this, not to take away from your work, because how would you get
Are they free tomorrow?
Yeah.
I swear I'll teach them.
I want to learn everything. How would you get a sales team to, I would say, like, speak executive language? So for example, you have sales individuals, and some of you that are listening, you know exactly where I'm going with this. You have sales individuals that get on the phone to close like a one person when it comes to maybe like a low ticket price or, whatever it is. And then I think personally that sales or providing service when you're talking to the decision maker of like a corporation or executive.
Always work top down.
Tell me more.
Top down.
Yeah.
Whenever you work with the purchasing department, HR manager, they won't go ahead most of the time. Because what happens is the guy who writes the check is the ultimate decision maker.
Yes.
Right? So what happens, you guys do the most amazing pitch to the middle people, and they go, you're the best thing since sliced bread. What are they going to do? They're going to go up and sell your services to the boss, which is going to be diluted anyway.
Yeah, it's not the
It's
same.
diluted, right? Yeah. And then what's he going to say? Well, that's fantastic. Go and get 2 more quotes.
Yeah.
So you open the market for your competition.
And this is exactly what happened.
Because you didn't have the balls to go and speak to the top guy.
Yeah. That's
sorry.
No, I was going to say
or if you're a woman, I don't know what you go. If you're a man.
No, I was going to say because obviously our company is all about like the emotional and social intelligence, but I wear 2 hats, and I know you do too. It's like, okay, there's the empowering side, there's the wanting to push people on their potential, but I'm also the owner of the company. So I have to be able to do both. And the reality is that there's payroll. We want to make an impact in the world, and we want to be able to serve, the clients as we see fit. And you're right. I think there's times where we don't get to the decision maker, and then our message is diluted. It's not said in
I
the same
promise
way
you,
with the
70 to 80% of your proposals are sent to the wrong people.
Yeah, we've seen it. We saw it this year for sure.
I can promise you this. And the fact is, I can have 2 pens and I say, right, it's $100 a pen. One person will go, wow, I trust you, Dariush. I'll go and sell loads. And the other one goes, well, it's a bit expensive. They go out for a week, they come back, that person says it's expensive, hasn't sold one. Why? It's too expensive. The one who said it was a bargain sold out. Same marketplace, just different mindset.
Yeah.
So in my team, what I do is, because I hire on motivation, all my staff, including the driver, has a vision board.
Really?
So what I do is I kick their ass. And I'm kicking their ass for the kids, for the parents that they're providing to. So they allow me to. If I don't know what the vision and goals in life is, they don't allow me to kick their ass. They call it a cult. But if they know he's got a Lexus on his vision board, I'm going to push him for that Lexus. He'll allow me to. You see? So with me, every single morning, my team willingly send me tasks of the day broken down hour to hour. And end of the day, they tell me what they've achieved and what they haven't. You know why? Unmotivated people will turn around and say, it's a cult. Bye.
Yeah.
And some people say, you know what? Neda's guiding me to get from A to B in the shortest possible time. I welcome it. Those are the people you want to employ.
Thank you for saying that. One of my team members is here, and she's amazing.
Yes.
And I do that because I think it's important. And I do it for myself, though. That's the thing, right? Like every day my hour is broken down.
Sure.
6 a.m.
Because you reevaluate your day and you be a better person tomorrow.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. I want to talk a little bit more about business, if that's okay.
Love it.
I always wonder, like, I'm my own competition. I always look at how I'm doing, where I'm going, and I think comparison for me is a positive thing, similar to what you were saying in part 1, which is if they can do it, like, why can't I do it, right? How do I get there, the drive? But sometimes I feel like the assessment of where a company should be, I don't know what that is. So, like, if somebody's running a business for 5 years, let's say they're in the service industry, where should they be? How do they know if they've achieved success?
I think the moment, I'll tell you a couple of examples. I had a house in the Far East in Thailand, and it was one of 5 houses on the water. And all my neighbors had boats. And I don't like the sea or anything, but it was an ego thing.
Yeah.
I went and got this boat. So the day I went on it, I don't know anything about boats. I bought it off the internet and they delivered it. It was wow. So it was a happy day. I go on the boat and I turn around and my next door neighbor's twice the size. I wasn't happy. I looked at his next door neighbor. His next door neighbor's twice the size of his.
Yeah.
So I thought, there's always a bigger boat.
Yeah.
There's always a bigger boat, right? But then you don't know boats unless you go out there talking to people. So the best way I get motivated is when I'm undermined and ignored. So I'm not one to go and kiss ass.
Did you say undermined?
Undermined, yeah.
Okay.
So for instance, we go to a meeting tomorrow on this training course and 10 people are told to go on stage and wow. I'm not asked to. That's my motivation. Because I think next year I'm going to be a VIP on your stage. And that's one of my motivation to start at my Gladiator summits. I was doing summits at 30 people every month, paying me $1,000 to $3,000. So I was getting about $80,000, $90,000 every month, just doing a weekend. And I got bored. I stopped for a year. I went on somebody else's seminar. They ignored me. And I thought, hang on a second, I can do better than this. Yeah. Had one 700 people, the next one 3,000 people. I went from 30 for 6 years, 700 people, then 3,000 people. What was stopping me? Myself.
Yeah.
Right.
In today,
that motivation.
Yeah, that drive.
Yeah. And it's now everybody in the region compares my events to everybody else.
Yeah.
Because not as good as Gladiator Summit.
But you also have a conviction in what you do.
Yes.
Right? It's like you truly believe that what you're doing is making an impact and that everybody needs it. And I think that sometimes people forget that fire in themselves. And so they do settle. They're like, okay, well, I wasn't asked to be on that stage or I didn't get that client. But I can see even in just talking with you in this short amount of time that there's this part of you that's like, oh, no, you have to have this. Like, this is something that I know. Tell me. Amazing.
There's 2 things I want to share with you. We need taxi drivers. We need male people. We need teachers. We need this. Not everybody can be a leader. That's the first thing you got to accept. That for the world to go around, 99% of the people cannot be leaders.
That's right.
That's you got to accept that. Two things is, again, I've recently realized is that I say that I'm helping people, and I haven't. Okay, so I was saying it, but what I was doing is I was rescuing people. So I was saving people, and that's really a bad thing to do. Because what I do, when I see someone, I see their potential, and I take them out of where they are, and I work them to fulfill their potential. And when they get there, what do they think? I'm not freaking happy anyway. I was happy where I was. Why are you bringing me here, pushing me to do this? I was comfortable. So there's a difference between saving people and helping people. Helping is when they come to you and say, I need help. I've reached a point in my life that I want to change. Okay, if they don't want change, you're wasting your time. It's like when you have, this is a good one for your company. If you're finding yourself motivating the individuals in your organization, they're the wrong people.
Yeah.
They should come self-motivated. You teach them the skills.
I believe it.
Yes.
Yeah, especially for the nature of the work of providing service.
Absolutely.
Because I always say you can't give what you don't have. So to go on stage or to coach or teach self-confidence and motivation, but you don't have it within yourself.
And you can't fake it because
it's the
they
lack
feel
of
it.
integrity. Yeah, absolutely.
In 21st century, maybe 80s, you could have faked it.
Yeah.
But now people feel it if you're real or not.
Yeah.
I was competing against a sales training company, against Renault cars.
Yeah.
And these guys went in, they had like a team of 10 people. I was there with my laptop, and I won against them because what they wanted to train the salespeople in the classroom. And I said, I want to train your salespeople on the shop floor with them. Salespeople said, we want him to teach us. And I increased the sales by 20%, Renault. But simply the way they say hello to people.
Yeah.
Can I give you an example?
We've
never met before, right?
That's
and
right.
we've never met the audience here.
Right.
So different ages, different sexes, different colors, everything, okay? So when you go into a shop and you see an item, you go to a specific shop, let's say Armani, and you want to buy those pants, trousers. And you go in and your dialogue is, I hope they have my size, I hope it's on sale, or my color I want. And then suddenly you walk into a shop and a salesman approaches you. Okay, what are you thinking? What happens to your mindset? What happens to your mindset? You think, oh shit, he's going to come over.
He's going to try to sell me.
How can I help you? And he's going to follow me around the shop like I'm a thief, correct? Right? So I'm going to say something to put him off. And he's got a brain, hopefully. He's thinking, 10 minutes to my lunch break, and this asshole walks in.
Yeah.
So I've got to go there because manager's walking. I'm going to put a smile and say, hello, how can I help you? Welcome to Armani, how can I help you? And you say, it's okay, I'm just looking. True?
Right, yeah.
But it's not what we really mean. What we want to say is, fuck off, go to the corner. Can I say fuck off in this?
Yes, you could be here.
What you really want to say is, fuck off, go and stand in the corner. Don't follow me around the shop like I'm a thief. I don't trust you. I don't respect you. I'll call you if I want something.
Yeah.
But people don't say that because they don't want to hurt this person's feelings. So they come out with things like smoke screens. A great salesperson recognizes a smoke screen. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I'll teach you how to connect in 15 seconds, and they're following you around the shop like that interaction never happened.
Yeah. Yeah, because it goes back to that energy, I think, that you were talking about, right? Mm-hmm. And also the emotional intelligence of how to read a room. I think sales is a big piece of that.
I can systemize it. So you don't need emotional intelligence.
Really?
Yes,
Wait a minute.
Yeah. And that's why I want to train your salespeople. Forget the seminar. You know why? Let me tell you why.
Tell me.
So if 90% of people who come to the shop say, I'm just looking.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have no faith in my $5 an hour staff. Okay. Or have you been approached when you're walking through a mall and somebody comes out with a perfume?
Yeah.
And
I
you
just
go,
walked
what
by.
happens to your head? You're thinking, I should never walk into the middle. I always get caught by these guys.
Yes.
I should always go on the side where I get mingled with the crowd.
Yep.
But I'm not going to say that. You're an asshole. Go and get a proper job, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just go, it's okay. I'm in a rush. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Right? No, thanks. I'm in a rush. True?
Yeah.
Right? That's called the smoke screen. So most weak salespeople go, oh, you're in a rush. I'll let you go. Is it a good time to call you? There's never a good time.
Yeah.
Never wake up in the morning thinking, I can't wait for a sales call.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm just dying to spend my money, whoever calls me next.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
So there are people out there who are order takers, right? There's difference in sales and order taking.
Yeah.
So if you came to my shop, I'll train you. Say 90% of people say, I'm just looking. So when they walk in, I tell you how to stand the distance. And I say, good morning. Is this your first time here? Are you just looking? And they go, shit, that's what I was just about to say. So they pause. Okay, and I teach them exactly what to say, and then the person follows them. Then you educate them about something, and they're subconsciously thinking, this is not just the other people who say, how can I help you?
It disrupts them.
He knows something about fashion, so I trust him. So they make that mind up that they trust, and then they say, actually, I'm not after shoes, I'm after a pair of pants. Oh, interesting. Are you going to a party, a special occasion? Conversation happens. Okay, you don't need emotional intelligence. You can systemize it.
Okay, well, I wouldn't say that. But what I would say is that it sounds
to get to a point. Get to a point.
Well, what I was gonna say is that what it sounds like though is that you've used the emotional intelligence to build a system that is emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
Because the phrases that you're using and the phrases that you say are in fact very emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
Right. But you've created, and I appreciate you building a system, because this goes back to what you said in part one, which we come across all the time, is people don't have like the actual ability to execute. Like they don't know what language to use or how to stand. Like it's hard for them to come up with it on their own.
Yes.
And so it sounds to me, even in like this short like dialogue that we've had, the role playing is that the phrases that you have been able to identify along the way create an emotionally intelligent experience for that salesperson.
Correct.
So that they feel like there's a relationship that's being built and that it's not transactional and it's not the same old like, what can I get you? What are you looking for? And I think that instantly creates a disruption in someone's brain, right?
Yes.
Like you were saying, it creates the, okay, this is different.
Yes.
I like this. It's not the same thing that I'm used to. I want to pivot a little bit. We are in a really interesting time in the world, especially here in the U.S. with new administration and things that are happening globally.
Oh, don't get
I'm not
me
going to
there.
go. No, I'm not going to go there. I promise.
Oh my God, that needs part 3.
Yes, I know. I'm just going to lightly touch upon it.
Let's go deep.
Yeah. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of people that are scared. Especially
and
a lot,
should be.
Yeah, especially a lot of business owners. Like I was talking to one of my good friends yesterday who runs a very successful business, and he's like, I'm scared. I don't know what's happening. I feel uncertain. And so I want to just kind of maybe get a little bit of your opinion on, should we be doing something? Do you think the business owners should be being careful? Should we just continue to assert? Like what's your climate right now? Like what are you feeling as a business owner?
As a small to medium-sized entrepreneurs, don't bother about the bigger news, because if you're a mortgage lender or if you're a manufacturer exporting, then you should be worried. But if you're actually doing business in your own village or in your town, your city, you're not gonna. How many clients do you need to get busy?
Right.
So stop listening to the news.
Yes.
Unfortunately, here's me on my pedestal.
Okay. You got it.
They say America first. Okay. This is what I think. Over the last 80 years, America has been first because they've ruined every other country around the world. There's been a war created by America every decade. It's the only country in the history of the planet, in the last 10 years, every decade they've created a war. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because disruption creates sales.
Yeah, for sure. It's moneymaker.
It's moneymaker, unfortunately. It's been, and they wonder why there's lack of trust for the American governments, not people, by the way. Yeah. Iranian people are the most wonderful people. American people are the most incredible people. If you actually go past the bullshit governments, actually humanity is full of love and decency. Yes. Okay, so my way of thinking, this nationalism of like, let's put tariffs on everyone, it's the most stupid thing in the world, because there's going to be even more distrust. And there's countries like China who doesn't need the US. They have the world to sell to. Yeah. India doesn't need the US. Russia doesn't need the US. Unfortunately, when 80% of the US population doesn't have passports, okay, they don't realize that there's a world out there.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Because you're self-contained. You can go skiing, you can do whatever. You don't need to leave the country. So the world can do fine. And also soon, they're going to say, well, if the dollar is going to be manipulated, we don't need it anymore. So they're going to create their own currency. And then suddenly the dollar will collapse. So I heard the current leader saying that China does this and that, and we have to breathe their air. But the biggest polluter in the world is America. And everybody else has to breathe their air also, right? And the movement of money is changing. So we're going through massive change, but nationalism and being single is not the way forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, the banks can't control finance like they used to because of blockchain.
Yeah.
Okay, there's oil fields all over the world, everywhere, and gas and everything. So we don't need, and yeah,
it's an interesting time for sure.
Yes.
I'm curious to see where it will go in, the next 2, even 1 year, 1 year.
Well, he's 78. We can always hope that.
No, we're not manifesting that.
No, why not? But then you get a second and third. Do you know what I'm thinking to myself? 400 million people. Are these the best we can come out with? Is this, if you repeat a lie enough times, it becomes reality. And I'm listening, thinking, doesn't matter if you're a Muslim or Christian or anything. I think God's given us the difference between me and a dog is that I have a power of choice and a decision, right?
Yeah.
So I'm listening to someone and I'm thinking, did they just make that up?
Yeah.
Or did I have the power of too many people go, it's come from his mouth and I have to fight for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think we have the power of making that choice and the right decision.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of taking ownership. So for everyone that's listening right now that we're all obviously in this current situation, what's something that you would say, just keep doing this, as a citizen of the world? What would you say, take ownership of this?
I think I actually, again, I'm a gladiator and I follow lots of people. Some of them are in Vegas and recently they were repeating some BS that they heard. And I went into the forum and I said, this is BS, please, you have a responsibility.
Yeah.
And 50% went, you're amazing, and 50% haters were really coming at me. And I was enjoying it, right? I think, don't be silent. What happened was, I went to Auschwitz, the concentration camp.
Yes, I've been there as well.
And 30-odd million Germans said nothing. And a handful of Nazis killed millions and millions of people.
Yes.
Okay? Genocide is not okay. Treat people with dignity that they deserve. All human beings are equal, not judged by religion or where they're born. And then you see how we become a most amazing world. So try it with your neighbors.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so, I'm on your page. I agree with you. And thankfully, because I've traveled so much. And so when I started traveling when I was 20 because I used to be a performer in musical theater, which is not common for Middle Easterns, but in a short amount of time, I went to a number of countries and it exposed me to things that I didn't get on the news.
Yes.
And I think that's something that's a big challenge in today's world is because of artificial intelligence, because of, social media, mass media, mainstream media, you name it, it's so hard, I think, this is my belief today, to decipher which information is accurate and which information is not accurate, right? And I think that's why you have so much division is because you hear one thing, you believe on it, you hear another thing, you believe in it, but you really don't know. I'll give a perfect example, Lebanon, right? My family's from Lebanon. We're Lebanese. I still have all my dad's family there. They never came to America. There's so many things that I see on TV here about Lebanon, and then I'll call my aunt, oh my God. She's like, what are you talking about? It's amazing. We're all outside. We're doing our thing. And it's the complete opposite of what we're hearing. And so I think more and more it gets challenging to decipher what is really happening and what's not happening.
But at the same time, I have a friend of mine whose mum got bombed and died in Lebanon.
Yeah.
So I'll give you one example. In 1961 or something, the Russians were going to put nuclear warheads in Cuba. And Kennedy and the warships of US, rightfully so, said you're not going to have nuclear bombs on our doorstep. Okay? 40 or 50 years on, we're putting nuclear warheads in Ukraine, around the borders of Russia. So if it's not good for us, why should it be good for them?
Right.
Right? Why are we imposing other rules on somebody else? Today we're talking about we're going to own a land and build casinos where
don't get me started on that.
You with me? And we're going to do it. Hello, are you just going to walk away? Aren't you just creating more hatred and more problems? And, you're going to come and kill my kids. I'm going to say, don't worry about it. I don't want to be called a terrorist.
Right.
Just think about your actions. But let me go back to business because I left something behind, if you don't mind. Because this is not going to go in a good place, this conversation. I might not be allowed to leave.
Let's redirect.
Yeah. And let me get my passport quick. And when I'm sitting, let's say you're a prospect and I'm a salesperson, okay? You have fears that you don't share with me. Is he going to take my money and run? Are they going to deliver? Am I going to be embarrassed?
Yeah.
So loads of fears that you're not going to share with me. But if I know you're fear driven then what I will do, my presentation will not based on my unique selling proposition. My presentation will be on how fantastic we are. It's worth thinking about because I've never met a salesperson sitting in front of me say, buy my products and services because we are shit.
Yeah.
Everybody says buy my stuff because we're great, right?
Yeah.
So I'm constantly thinking, yes. I don't want to hurt their feelings, but are they going to run? Am I paying too much? Yes. Am I going to get embarrassed? Will I lose my job? Right? So am I going to get value for money? So what I say is, when you're presenting, pitch overcoming their pain. So you might be thinking, I don't know, but you might be thinking, are you paying too much? Well, let me tell you, the price I'm quoting you now, you will never get anybody else who's got a better price than you. You might be thinking, after I paid them, after 6 o'clock, we won't take the call. Well, let me tell you, I only hire motivated salespeople, motivated people in our organization. What does that mean? Is that when you call at 10 o'clock, they'll pick up the call. They're not 9-to-5ers. You might be thinking, I'll do it, and I'll just, and all the time, you'll be thinking, I like this person. Because they're dealing with all my internal dialogue that was stopping me going ahead with them. Yeah. And then they think, I'm going to find a reason to buy from them because I trust them.
Yeah.
So you build likability and trust by going over their fears. Don't sell anything.
Yeah. And I think
it's the hardest thing to do, by the way.
It is. And I think that something that you're saying that's important is building the likability and the trust, because I can only speak for myself, but I know that there's times where maybe I'm sitting in front of a prospect and I recognize right off the bat that this is not going to be a good fit. Right. And not because we can't close them, but because of maybe the values or
the culture
or something of some sort. And I'm able, or they'll ask us for something that we don't do. Like they might say like, hey, we need like marketing. Well, we don't do that. So our company is not the yes and. We are when it makes sense for us, but we're very clear in saying we really appreciate your time. We're probably not going to be the best fit, and so we don't want to take your money because your success is our success. And I think that that's something important.
That honesty is so important.
Yeah, and I think that's something important for sales as well, is like recognizing that it's one thing to close, but then if you don't deliver, that can ruin your reputation.
Yes,
like it goes backwards.
Yes,
and I know for me, like that's one of my fears as an owner is that we never want to not deliver.
Yes,
if we ever get a client that's like, this didn't work, it's like, get on a phone. How are we going to solve it? How are we going to make it amazing for you? Because your success is our success, and there's a non-negotiable there for us.
Yes, I think your biggest challenge is people don't have the same values as you, because they become very painful clients, and the ones who suffocate you. The best thing to do is fire them, and then the energy opens up for two great clients to come. They're closing off the energy.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, again, with yourself, it's emotional intelligence and experience. You got miles under your wheels, right? So when you hear certain things, it triggers. Yeah. You think, oh, I heard this before, that equals pain. You can't expect your staff to know it.
Yeah.
But then you need them to give you proper reports so you can give them advice.
Yeah.
The challenge is you probably don't have enough prospects. So what you need to do, you need to increase your number of prospects, so more eggs in the basket. So if a couple crack, you don't give a damn. Yeah. The problem is that most people don't have enough prospects.
The pipeline is dry.
Yeah, so they got a few golden eggs, and they just, whatever it is, they just look after these two. So, yeah.
Wow, I feel like we can talk forever. I'm going to have to fly to Dubai, and we'll have more of a conversation there. I want to ask you a couple more questions, rapid fire questions. Even though we did them in part 1, I'm going to create more for part 2. So one of my questions that I have for you is, in part 1, you talked about your younger self, right, as a child. If you had your younger self sitting in front of you now, what would you say to him?
Stop chasing girls. It doesn't matter. And spend your time learning more. Value your time more. Because I say, have you ever been to the cinema and you see this family pack of M&Ms?
Yeah.
Have you ever been there and there's this huge family pack? You think, I'm never going to have that. Right. And you buy it because it's only pack left, right?
Yeah.
That's the only pack they sell. And the beginning, you're just getting 10 at a time. And halfway through, you like about 5 left.
Yeah.
And you start getting it out and you crack the outside and you suck the inside. Yes. It's just like life. When you're young, you're having 10 at a time.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to my age, you're thinking, hang on a second, I wish I valued those M&Ms when the pack was full. I would have had a much fruitful life.
as a parent, obviously there's a lot of people that are listening that run businesses or they're executives and they also have children. As a parent, is there anything, I'm gonna go on the positive way. Is there anything that you've done as a parent that you say like, I'm really happy I did this because I can love, yeah.
So they don't go seeking relationships when it fills their cup. The cup's full. So they only go to people in business and life that enhances their life, not fills where there's gaps. And I spoil them financially, but then every single time I say to them, repeat after me, money comes easy to me. So a few months back, I have a 10-year-old and a 16-year-old, and I forgot to pay him the pocket money. So they went to the supermarket, just go to the supermarket. Now they have Apple Pay. I go, beep, beep. At least good way of controlling, right? I know where they're going. KFC, how was it? Oh, we had salad, KFC. And so what they did was they went around the supermarket doing challenges for people. And they earned themselves like $50. Because to them, money comes easy to me.
Yeah.
So one was doing press-ups for $1, and the other one, they just created something. Now, between them, they have a YouTube channel. They're monetizing.
Oh, cool.
The YouTube's 150,000 followers.
What's their YouTube channel?
Bros Case.
Okay.
Bros Case.
We'll put it in the show notes too.
Yeah, thank you. And their future's bright because they just have an abundance mindset, abundance of love and happiness and energy of money just flows to them.
Yeah. I love that. I'm about to be a parent, so I'm learning. I'm getting married in 30 days. I don't have a baby.
Listen, you're hiding it well. About any minute now.
No, I'm getting
Congratulations.
Married. Thank you so much.
Or should I say that?
Very excited.
Good luck.
Yeah, it'll be amazing.
It will be amazing.
It will be amazing.
Get him here. I'll interview him. I'll put him through a CV test. Yes.
You've lived, final question, you lived all over the world. I mean, you obviously in the UAE and Europe, UK, you've lived in America. What's your top choice now that you've kind of seen a bunch?
As an American, you're screwed. Because you know why? Because wherever you go in the world, you got to pay taxes.
I know.
As a UK citizen, after 6 months living in Dubai, I don't have to pay one penny tax.
I know.
So why do I want to pay taxes? The sun shines every day. Whatever I earn, I keep. Highest quality of infrastructure, health. I can meet you. I don't do small talk. I can meet someone and say, hi, how can we do business together?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, cut the crap, right?
Yeah.
And it's that environment. The country's booming. If you work hard and you're honorable, you can't lose.
Yeah.
So UAE, I'm Muslim born. It's my DNA. I've never been accepted anywhere else. In Dubai, whether you're Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, Muslim, you're accepted as an equal.
Yeah.
The local population is only 12%. There's 88% foreign expats.
The first time I went there, I barely saw anyone Arab.
Yeah, correct.
I was like, wow, but it's one of the best cities in the world.
Yes.
Which is why, we fly back and forth and do things there, but it's so exciting. And
amazing.
Every time I land there, there's just this energy that there's a pace to it.
Oh, you fly the airline, it's the best in the world. You go to Starbucks. I left $10,000 equivalent on an ATM.
Yeah.
Got in the car, came back, and it was still there. I go to Starbucks, I leave my key, my wallet, everything. I go queue, come back, and this table's still saved.
Yeah.
I haven't locked my car door or my house for the last 15 years.
So what you're saying is buy property there as fast as possible.
Buy property, invest, start your business. Yeah. Although it's country-wise small.
Yeah.
It's like smaller than Vegas.
I was going to say it's similar.
Yes, but the abundance is in the energy. On the radio, you're not allowed to be negative. So you only hear happiness. You're only happy.
One of my friends was telling me that there was a fight that broke out on the street, and of course they got arrested because that's not something that they support there. But also the bystanders that were watching also got in trouble as a way to show like this is not something that we respect here. Like don't add to it. Don't feed it.
If you see a crash, you're not allowed to video it.
Yeah.
Because that's spreading bad news.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you can't use foul language, you go to jail.
Yeah.
You can't bounce a check, you go to jail. It's just black and white.
I love that. I see
just
it,
behave.
that fits. Yeah. Just behave. Yeah.
Just behave.
I love that. Dariush, thank you so much for joining us today on the Rise Up For You podcast. I'm sure there's going to be more collaboration to come.
Can't wait. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. And thank you everyone for joining the Rise Up For You podcast. Every single week, we are bringing you entrepreneurs, executives, thought leaders from around the world to help elevate you and your success. I'll see you next time.